like to call the I'd like to call the November 26th, 2024 meeting of the Ogden Town Board to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd ask you to remain standing for a moment of silent reflection and prayer for military servicemen and women serving around the world, as well as for our first responders. Thank you. Okay, well, to start this meeting, we have a presentation and proclamation, so I'd ask the members of the board to join me, as well as for the president of the chamber, Carl Forty, to come up here, please. So as my family continues to inform me, and as you walk into down the hallway, you'll notice that there are just signs of Christmas and Thanksgiving and all of the holiday season upon us right now. We know that oftentimes it's super simple and easy for us to jump online, go to Walmart, go to Amazon to get the things that we want for ourselves and our kids. But this community has a really large swath of different types of self-employed, light industrial, some retail, commercial, that is big box stores, but mostly these are husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, daughters, wives that are taking a look at taking a chance on this community with their own dollars. I was just having coffee with the owner of McDonald's, and he says very often, a lot of the comments make it seem like I own McDonald's corporate, when really I am a small business to that scale, family-owned business that his father purchased and now he has. And so at the end of the day, we want to honor, celebrate, and recognize the small businesses in our town. A number of us in this room have small businesses, including myself in this town. And so with that, I just wanted to read this proclamation and turn it over to the president of the Chamber of Commerce and give you a second to speak, which is news to you. But I'll read this right now. It says, whereas the town of Ogden takes great pride in recognizing the qualities that make our community unique, and the small businesses that call Ogden home play a pivotal role in shaping our way of life. Whereas small businesses contribute to the uniqueness of our community through the products they provide, the services they offer, and the positive impact they make. They create jobs for our residents and help drive economic growth. Whereas the town of Ogden is proud to be home to many diverse small businesses, as we approach the holiday season, we encourage all residents to support these local establishments, which are vital to the fabric of our community. Whereas Small Business Saturday is a national movement that encourages individuals to support small businesses, especially during the holiday season. Whereas the town of Ogden celebrates the dedication and hard work of our small business owners, who are the heart and soul of our community. Whereas by supporting our local businesses, we can show our support for our local establishments and help them continue to flourish in our community for years to come. And now, therefore, we, the town board, the town of Ogden, proudly proclaim November 30th, 2024, a Small Business Saturday in the town of Ogden, and encourages all residents to shop at our local small businesses. So thank you for accepting this on behalf of small businesses in the town, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. We'll accept this on behalf of all the small businesses out there. I can't stress to you how important community is, right? As a small business owner living in a small community like Spencerport, it's refreshing to be able to go to the local ice cream store and have a bite to eat, have a bite of ice cream, and be able to talk to the owners there, or the gym or the McDonald's, right? We were taking pictures for homecoming dance at the McDonald's owner's house there, all the kids getting together. So the fact that we have the community that we have to be able to, that supports one another to be able to do those things, we're very fortunate. I'm very grateful for the town of Spencerport for allowing us to do what we do, and we've been here 23 years and counting, and I couldn't imagine any place else to live. So thank you guys, thank you, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Steve.
You might have.
Let's get quick photo here.
Take a picture. All right, perfect. I wish I would've dressed a little more.
Like I said, most of this is new to me.
There we go. Steve, you want to take a half step? Thanks. All right, thank you very much.
Appreciate you, man.
I didn't ask him.
Okay, let's go ahead and jump right into approval of the minutes, Resolution 290.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Gerbino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, we have privilege of the floor. If there is anyone here that wishes to address the board, this is the time to do so. State your name and address. Just know that the board may or may not respond right here, especially if they don't have, the answer right in front of them, but we will do our best to follow up with you if we can't. So, is there anybody that wishes to address the board at this time?
Good evening, Linda DeBardo, 110 Ogden Center Road.
Hi, Linda.
I just have a question about Resolution 296.
Sure.
So, the services, you're moving, I see that all the numbers match up, but you're moving money in for services rendered, so they've already been rendered and you're just paying for. And so, the other accounts that you're moving this money from to adjust, do you know what you're going to forego in those? And can you give us detail on that?
I wish that I could tell you exactly what every one of these numbers are off the top of my head, but what I do know is that, we have vacancies in different departments. And what that does is that it allows for there to be monies that aren't spent, not just in payroll, but also in benefits. Most of those are here. Some of these are from accounts that would, be for certain purchases. I think one of the items that came up was a bookshelf, smaller items that would have otherwise been purchased. But either there's going to be a reason that that's not going to be spent. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. These would be monies that would not end up being spent this year.
Okay.
And again, it has to come from the general fund, which if you see marked by a 1 in front of the number, that signifies it's coming from the general fund.
And what is the difference between personal services and contracted services?
So, contracted services would be things that we've set aside for actual contracts. Yeah,
And personal services is just anything else?
for the most part, to be honest. If it's classified, otherwise it'd be in a miscellaneous accounts, which we don't do often.
Being November, your fiscal year goes to the end of December, is that?
Yep.
So you already know you're not going to spend these amounts, so you're not
Correct.
gonna go into the hole on those accounts.
Correct, yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. To follow up with that, Linda, I'll go one step further. We actually did a cost spread analysis for the rest of the year, Sherry and I, just to find out if we were even going to touch our reserve accounts. So in every budget, in order to balance the budget, we apportion part of the revenues from our appropriated fund balance, hoping that we never touch it, and we really never do. But I wanted to make sure that we weren't not only not spending the budget, but not touching that, or at least to the best of our abilities, so. great question. Anybody else wishing to address the board at this time?
Jamie Erskine Pettit, 26 Golden Pond Trail. Just following up with what Linda had mentioned for the services that were rendered. I see that this is a law firm. I was wondering what services were rendered for $74,000 when we have a town attorney?
We've always had labor relations attorneys for the town. You'll notice that there's another resolution for yet another attorney, which does a completely different service with litigation. I think that, we could make lots of jokes about attorneys, but they do have specialties, and Mr. Shum has really been general counsel. We'll continue to have a general counsel once he officially retires. But there will be specialists that will help us with labor relations, especially as it relates to contract negotiations, because we do have two collective bargaining units. I hope that best answers it. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir?
Mike Mayer, 405 Whittier Road. Being a senior citizen, I know there's a lot of discussion regarding senior activities. A good friend of mine is the driver for the town of Parma vehicle to take senior citizens, Niagara Falls, shopping, lunch, Del Lago, they take you down. They go 2 to 4 days a week, okay? I also know that their vehicle was purchased by a grant, okay? So I know it might be too late for this year's budget, but I think that something for seniors that, I know they have the town, or Henry Street building that they use. They have bingo there, lunch, we don't have that. But I think the number of senior citizens that you're gonna be getting, and can't drive, it might be something to really look into, to be able to tell the senior citizens, listen, this coming Tuesday and Thursday, these are the events, please sign up. I know I've talked to Mike about it in terms of a driver and all that. I understand the expense, but I think down the road, if you're thinking about more stuff for the senior citizens in the town hall here, I think it would be something to really look into. I know the positivity that the driver tells me that the people receive outweighs maybe the cost. We know it's never gonna be free, but if you can make 30 people a week happy that they're able to get somewhere where they can't otherwise drive or whatever, even just a lunch, it'd be something that I would like you to consider, at least in the upcoming budget, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none. Oh, I gotta turn back now. I'm gonna go ahead and close the privilege of the floor. This being the second meeting of the month, there is no reports, remittances, or town audits. There's 2 correspondences there. As I mentioned in our pre-meeting, Christian Barnes attended a multiple-day grant writing class to really help us as we navigate a whole bunch of different grants that we want to take a look at. And then Don Wells, who really just came to us when our assessor retired and was really filling in on a temporary basis. He really misses retirement, so he tells me. And, luckily we were able to put together a cost savings to both our town and the town of Gates by entering into an agreement for assessment services over there, plus the promotion of Jeanette Vogler to assistant assessor. I think we're right on our way to good things here. But just for the record, I've said this to him multiple times, but we navigated quite the aftermath after assessments with Don's expertise, retired assessor from Parma, and did help with Hamlin as well. And we're just so blessed that he gave us, his time and expertise, and that definitely doesn't go unnoticed. Yeah, he just wants to watch the Bills and not come to work every day, and I don't blame him. But thank you, Don, for everything. Really appreciate that. Reports from town officers, I will try to be brief, but there is a lot that's gone on in 2 weeks. We presented a plaque earlier today for Chief Pete Zambuto of our Special Police Department. However, we were not recognizing the 29 years of service that he's had to the Special Police, but the 20 years of service that he has had as a court attendant. So very grateful to him. We had to beg him to at least do that, let alone come to a board meeting to be recognized. So his family and many other employees of the town came to that. Also like to extend congratulations to Nicole Fogg from the Senior Center. She just crossed the 10-year service milestone. And then Mr. Rich Vargo, who is celebrating his 25 years of service milestone this Friday. So lots of great milestones here for employees. We have been very busy preparing for a magical holiday celebration and Christmas tree lighting, scheduled for Friday, December 6th. That's actually next Friday, which is crazy. Take a look down our hallway. We've already really started the decoration process, but it's going to just be a great time, great event. Lots of games and fun crafts for kids, food trucks, lit vehicles, a tree lighting ceremony, hot chocolate, a whole bunch of stuff. It'll be photos with Santa, can't forget that. But it's going to be a really great time. As part of that, we are doing a food drive for the Spencerport Ecumenical Food Shelf. So non-perishable food items will be collected. And as of today, we actually got our own built wooden Pirate Toy Fund chest that we will keep year-round, not just for the Pirate Toy Fund, but for a whole bunch of other fundraisers and gifts and donations that we're going to be doing throughout the year. But we are officially launching our Pirate Toy Fund drive that will go for the next several weeks. We'll obviously have it as a big kickoff with our event, but encourage residents as they go out on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday and use their shopping times to grab a $5 gift for a kid in need, and we will make sure the Pirate Toy Fund has that. We also met with an engineer from MRB to discuss water infrastructure studies for the town of Ogden. It was a lengthy discussion, and we're going to get into it a little bit in a work session, brought some of the materials today. This is really the start of the conversation, even though we've been mulling it around the town's been mulling it around since before 2012. But this board has talked about it for the last 2 years, and I think we're ready to at least move forward in discovering what we can and can't do. Other things, I attended a tabletop safety event in the town of Webster. We're actually going to be doing this in the town of Ogden with Monroe County, but also with the village. And basically what the county is going to do is they're just going to bring us some disaster, and all of the stakeholders that are part of our emergency management team, which we've really put together just really in the last couple of years, will kind of navigate through that with the county and really take a look at resources and placement. And it was enlightening and overwhelming, and I'm so grateful to have so many people that really clearly know how to handle emergency situations. Because just looking at that, the experts in the room just kind of firing off what they would do. This scenario happened to be an anthrax scare and scenario, and there's a lot of history there, but what a great way to actually bring to the table disaster solution or disaster situations and try to talk through it. But yeah, I know that we're working on setting that up here in Ogden as well. I did get on a call. It's almost not even worth mentioning, but I was on a call with the county, pulling 0 punches regarding the Gillette Road Bridge in CSX, to the point where I said it's time to stop pulling punches and just file a lawsuit, which they are considering. But there's a little bit of nervousness on doing that when they've already committed. CSX has already committed $3 million towards the project and what that might do. But there is nobody other than CSX, and even CSX admitting responsibility, they just don't feel like it's their responsibility to take care of it. So those are continuing conversations. We have had extensive interviews for the Ogden Police Department. We've had 2 full-time, a part-time, and a promotion for sergeant. These were all to fill vacancies, and very fruitful, very productive, and happy to vote on 2 of those items tonight, 2 more at the next town board meeting. There was also, on behalf of the board, sent a lot of congratulation letters. We had 3 that I know of, there might be more, but 3 teams from Spencerport that won sectionals, the boys and girls soccer teams, and one of the volleyball teams as well. So congratulations to them. And then one other thing that, very interesting that this came up, but there's an awful lot of very responsible kids, teenagers that have e-bikes that they ride around the town. And they, I know a couple of them that go and get groceries for their parents. But we're also having some issues as well. The village has actually passed a specific law that wasn't otherwise on the books regarding riding them on sidewalks, and enforcing that is a little bit interesting. And we had a resident that had complained that made the airwaves, and just got us to thinking about how to address it, and it brought us back to when we were having some issues with skateboarding. And I would say for the most part, most people are doing this responsibly, and parents are certainly keeping track of what's going on, that their kids aren't causing issues, but there are ones that are. And so we talked about, maybe potentially taking a look at passing a local law where we are able to confiscate, the e-bikes, or at least the batteries, and make sure that the parents can come and pick that back up. Either way, there's actual harassment going on of people because of these things, and I do agree that if I found out that one of my kids was doing that, they'd be in a lot of trouble. And so if we don't have people that are willing to do that for their kids, then unfortunately the town needs to take some action to protect residents who are just trying to walk or drive or not have our parks torn up by tires. So that's really it for me. So next, Councilman Baker.
No report, just happy Thanksgiving.
Councilman Gerbino.
Same, no report.
Councilman Hinman.
Just something that I wanted to mention. I had the pleasure of going to the high school's drama club production of Anastasia this past weekend. It was really quite impressive. I don't know if anyone's seen the one on Broadway, but where they use humans to push the stuff around. We actually had the Spencerport Robotics Club made stuff to make like the sets. It was really quite amazing what they did. It was amazing production, and the kids were the acting was great, the music was phenomenal. So I know it's gone now, so it's maybe too little too late, but I just want to give them props because it was really a great production. It's probably one of the best productions I've seen, and I've seen a few. I was really proud of the kids and what's going on. I mean, I'm a little bit biased because my son was one of the lead roles, but besides that, it was a very good production. I was very proud of what they put together. So, and that's it for me.
Very good. Councilman Toms.
No report, thank you.
Highway Superintendent Dan Wolf.
No report.
Town Clerk Noel Burley.
We are already preparing for town and county taxes. Bills are in production. They're working on things as we speak. We've been busy planning the December 6th holiday events. Want to thank Tony and his guys for helping us get things going. Really appreciate all their help, and just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Very good. Yes, the lights on the buildings look great, Tony. Please pass along our thanks to your team as well. Dan Shum, Town Attorney.
Some things move slowly, and the topic is the Veterans Memorial Park. I had a very nice conversation with a deputy.
For those that don't know, we wanted to build essentially an addition to the Veterans Memorial, which is right by Brindle House and you know, that area that's over there.
Across the street from the cemetery.
And, yeah, across from the cemetery. I believe that the conflicts go up to Vietnam and no further, and certainly there's been a lot of young men and women that have joined the service in conflicts past that, and so had the idea to expand that, which I called the mayor because it's in the village, and I said, hey, you know, do you guys own this? And he said, no, you guys do. And so we went to apply for a grant to get it taken care of, and they said, well, we need the deed and we need ownership, and we couldn't find it, only to find out that we don't own it, the county does, which again makes no sense. So we're working with the county to try to figure out either they apply for the grant or they just give us the property. We already maintain it, which again, things that make no sense for 500. Sorry.
But in any event, it's been 4 months, maybe 5, 6 months, that been waiting for the county to sort of respond to our request of, let's get this done, and finally did hear from a deputy county attorney that it had landed on his desk, and he related that as a result of their in-house review of this, probably for the 3rd or 4th time, their thought in mind was to actually cede it to the village and then let the village lease it to us on a long-term basis. And they thought that that would, one of the problems with giving it to the town is that if it's been in fact used as a memorial park, there's certain state restrictions on alienation of that, giving that to the town, which might preclude them giving it to us. But so in any event, I'm expecting shortly a letter outlining what they're proposing, how they propose to do it, and we approach the village. I'm sure the village would be all in favor of it. It isn't going to cost, the village actually would be applying for the grant, and then we would be, if you will, funding or using the funds to make the improvement on a lease basis. So that's moving forward. I doubt it's going to happen in December, but it's moving forward. And then reviewed the plans and specifications for the bathroom and kitchen remodeling here at the town hall. Made some comments. Generally speaking, they look to be fine, and it's my understanding that the company that we've engaged is working on a set of plans. That's it.
Very good. Okay, there being no other unfinished business, we will move into the new business items. Madam Clerk?
Resolution 291, authorizing the purchase and placement of the historic marker to commemorate the historic Ogden Center location.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Hinman, seconded by Councilman Toms. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 292, approving the 2025 appendices B and C to the intermunicipal work agreement by and between the town of Ogden and the county of Monroe, establishing the payment of fringe benefit rates for 2025.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Toms, seconded by Councilman Baker. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 293, authorizing Ogden Town Supervisor Mike Sale to execute a retainer letter with the O'Toole Law Firm PLLC to furnish professional services.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 294, authorizing Ogden Town Supervisor Mike Sale to execute for and on behalf of the town of Ogden an intermunicipal agreement with the county of Monroe for the receipt and the use of New York State funding for the 2025 High Visibility Engagement Campaign.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Tom, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 295, authorizing budget transfers within the general funds to allocate funds for the payment of the annual New York State retirement invoices.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Toms. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 296, authorizing budget transfers associated with the contractual consulting services furnished by Carter Seacrest.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Hinman, seconded by Councilman Toms. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 297, authorizing a contract with NJ Electric for electrical services related to the Pineway Pond Splash Pad Replacement Project.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Baker. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 298, appointing Kevin A. Hall as a part-time, non-competitive police officer with the Ogden Police Department.
I move that.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hinman, seconded by Councilman Gerbino. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 299, promoting Officer Mark A. Benetti to the position of Police Sergeant effective December 3rd, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 300, approving the hiring of David J. Boer to the non-competitive position of substitute limited part-time court attendant.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Toms. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item, please.
Resolution 301, authorizing Ogden Town Supervisor Mike Zal to execute on behalf of the town of Ogden an interlocal agreement with the TIPS Purchasing Cooperative.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Tom, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. I'd like to make a motion that we go into work session.
Second.
I'm going to give that one to Councilman Hinman.
The
All those in
sharp-dressed man
favor?
down there.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are in work session. This is still a public session where we actually really talk